Yikes. Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Part 2. Now I already put up my review of the game on the 12th of June. This game was sent to me by PlayStation so that I could, give you guys my opinions on it, which I did when the initial embargo released. And then this past Thursday, I had a live stream where I streamed everything up until the big moment, and then I told you guys the problems in great detail, by the way, the problems that I personally had with the story. However, in today's video, I would like to focus on a couple of things that I feel that the gaming industry needs to learn just in general, things that could potentially avoid the situation that The Last of Us Part 2 is in right now, where basically you have, almost unanimous perfect critical acclaim from just about every major news publications, with the exceptions, I believe, of Kotaku and Polygon, interestingly enough, which I would not have expected those to be the dissenting opinions. But I didn't really read a lot of the other reviews, but I was aware of the fact that there were a lot of perfect scores for the game, which was surprising to me when I put up my review. Now, let me tell you guys how a lot of this stuff went down. When I initially received the code for The Last of Us Part 2, I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and due to the fact that there's been a lot of situations in the past that kind of prevented me from playing through the entirety of Xenoblade Chronicles, this time around I was like, no, I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles, I don't care. And during the time that I was still wrapping up Xenoblade Chronicles, there was a lot of talk about leaks for The Last of Us and how the game was going to be really bad because of all of these leaks that were taking place. And I was a little bit frustrated because it's like, look, when I want to go into a video game, I want to go completely fresh. I do not like spoilers. I'm one of those guys that cares a lot about spoilers. Some would even say that I'm too sensitive to spoilers, to the point where sometimes I'd be playing, when I was streaming Iceborne, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, people would talk about like some of the monsters that I still hadn't fought yet. And I was like, no! I wanted to see it firsthand when it happened in the game. I didn't want it to know that those were coming. So I'm very sensitive to that type of stuff. So eventually, what ended up happening was I avoided everything. I avoided all of the leaks. I just went on complete media blackout for The Last of Us, for the purpose that when I actually played it, I would go in completely neutral and with only my own personal biases, which, by the way, a lot of people still talk these days about, oh, this guy did a completely unbiased review. And let me tell you this once again, I keep bringing this up, but let me just make this crystal clear for the people in the back that still don't understand. There is no such thing, okay, it just doesn't exist, as an unbiased review by anyone. I don't care if you tell me, oh no, I know this guy is the most unbiased. No, everybody has personal biases towards something. The important thing when you are watching or reading a review is knowing the biases of the person that is reviewing the product. That is like one of the only reasons why I do reviews, is because I know that a portion of my audience appreciates the biases that I personally have, and they can relate to some of them, and they can understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about specific topics. So just to make this perfectly clear, if any of you in the comment sections actually believes that there is such a thing as an unbiased opinion, you are wrong. This is not up for discussion. Everyone is biased towards something, period. My personal biases, for those of you that are coming to this video like it's your first impressions of me, it's like my personal biases, particularly when it comes to gaming, are towards games in the vein of like Dark Souls, the Soulsborne type of games, and Monster Hunter. Those are my big biases. I have big biases towards Japanese storytelling as well. I tend to prefer that kind of storytelling versus Western storytelling. It's just the way that these things are. Does this mean that I don't appreciate Western video games? No, that's not it. It just means that I have a strong bias towards more Japanese type of video games. Anyways, just laying it out there, this is just a fact. Everybody's biased towards something. So in order to retain only my biases, I avoided all of the media to go in completely blank. So by doing this, one of the situations that I wasn't able to cover was the DMCA takedowns that were happening at the time. I didn't cover these because I was kind of like scared that, like, if I go into this rabbit hole, am I going to run into spoilers of the game? Am I going to figure out that basically people were re-uploading leaked footage, which you shouldn't do, or what the situation was? So I looked into the leaks after I finished the game. And after I finished the game and I looked into the leaks and I analyzed this whole situation, I feel that like Sony or PlayStation or Naughty Dog or Muzo TNT, whatever, whoever was the entity that was going around and doing DMCA takedowns for some of the discussions that were happening around the YouTube content sphere, that was, for starters, illegal. You shouldn't be able to do that from a legal standpoint, but we all know that YouTube's content ID system is completely botched. It just doesn't work. You're basically guilty until proven innocent, and literally anyone can file a DMCA takedown. Like literally, if you have a YouTube channel, I can basically go to your YouTube channel, download your video, re-upload it onto my channel, and then claim the content is mine, and then DMCA take down you. I can literally do that. Anyone on YouTube can literally do that. Like the same way that I can do that to you, somebody else can do that to me. It's that easy. I'm not, you guys may think that I'm exaggerating. I'm really not. That's the way that YouTube works. Like you can literally, if you hate me, you can do this. Then of course we'll have to go into legal proceedings and stuff like that, because that's just how the websites work. And eventually the original creator might come out on top. But essentially when you're going into legal proceedings against like big corporations like Sony and PlayStation, like quite simply not a single YouTube content creator earns enough ad revenue to realistically fight this type of situation. We've had a situation in the past where H3H3 fought someone on a copyright claim. I don't remember the exact details of that, but they came out on top. But that's because H3H3 is like a friggin' massive creator. And even then they had like this big fundraiser and they raised like $100,000 to fight their legal case and all of this to actually come out on top. So if you're talking about $100,000 is like almost more than I've made in my entire lifetime here on YouTube. Which is, when you think about it, just like, actually, it's not almost, it's more than what I've made in my lifetime here on YouTube as a content creator. So there's no way that I would ever fight a DMCA takedown. And like this, a lot of content creators will not fight DMCA takedowns from larger entities because quite simply, we don't make enough money on the website to justify the hassle. It's much easier for us to just take down the video and whatever, roll with our losses. But having said that, I completely disapprove all of these DMCA tactics. I feel that they are complete hot garbage because here's the situation that we're in. The YouTubers that Sony or whoever was pursuing, these were not the YouTubers that generated the original leak. They were reporting on a leak. And here's the thing. If you want to pursue to legal consequences the person that actually leaked the information, you are within your rights. You should be able to pursue the person that leaked the information about The Last of Us. And I know some people are going to disagree with me and some people are going to call me names and whatever, but this is just the reality of it. Someone leaked classified information, someone who was under an NDA. And usually what this ends up making is it makes publishers even more wary of working with other people. This is why a lot of YouTubers end up not getting review codes because quite simply the companies deem them not to be trustworthy. Like a lot of people might wonder, how does a channel like mine, like a small channel, got access to a review code for The Last of Us 2? It's because I live in Portugal. There's not that many people that do what I do in Portugal. And I have, throughout all of the content creation that I've done, I came into contact with PlayStation and, I've worked with them in the past with other video games, stuff like that. But it's mostly because there's not as much competition in this space in Portugal, which makes it a little bit easier for me to present my project, for me to present the type of work that I do. And that's how I got access to that code. And a lot of people also seem to believe that like, oh, you have to basically kiss the ass of publishers to get access. That's not how it works at all. As a matter of fact, some people seem to believe that if you get early access, you're in their pocket. I'll tell you what, that is definitely not the case with me. As a matter of fact, in you guys remember Days Gone, the game that came out, what year was that? Was it last year, the year before? I don't know. Days Gone is a game that came out, and there was a preview event that I went to. And in that preview event, I played the game, and I didn't like it at all. I did not like the gameplay. I thought that there were a lot of problems with the game. I thought that there were issues with... I don't remember all of the issues that I had with it. You can go and you can watch like the preview event video if you're curious about that, because I made a whole video talking about that. And... some of you might think, oh, that means that you didn't get access to that game then because you didn't like it and you made a video, talking bad about the stuff that you didn't like in the game. Not only I did that video, but while I was at the event, I actually directly spoke with, I think, one of the persons who's like the highest person when it comes to PR from PlayStation in Portugal. He was there, and when I was leaving, he asked me, "Oh, so what'd you think of it?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't like it at all." And he was like, "Oh, really? So tell me more." So he pulled me aside and we had a conversation, and I pointed out every single thing that I didn't like it, and I told him exactly what it was, and I even told him this is what I'm going to be mentioning in my video. I didn't like this, I didn't like this, I didn't like this aspect of it, I didn't like this thing, I thought there was a problem here, I thought there were problems in that. I told him literally everything that I didn't like about it, and then I got out of there and I went home and I made my video and I uploaded it, and boom. And pretty much like every other game that I've received from PlayStation, they sent me the code anyways. Because at the end of the day, as long as you conduct yourself in a professional manner, I don't really think a PR company is going to not want to work with you just because you didn't like one of their video games. You know, I think they look at it kind of like, oh, we didn't like this one, maybe you'll like the next one, whatever. And if at any point in time a PR company decides not to work with me because I didn't like specific portions of their video game or their video game as a whole, then that's too bad, because my opinion is not for sale, and it is never going to be for sale. It is what it is. I didn't get into this for the money or the access or whatever. I got into this to talk about video games because I like to talk about video games. That's just all there is to it. But anyways, cycling back around to the whole DMCA situation, one of the things that the industry needs to learn in regards to trying to silence content creators is that if they are doing something illegal, it's one thing, but what these creators were doing was not illegal at all. Therefore, when you went after them, what ended up happening is the exact opposite, which is called the Streisand Effect. You're trying to silence criticism, and it's just going to get louder because more and more people are going to get involved, and more people are going to start signal boosting all of the bad stuff that you are doing. And ultimately, it all ends up backfiring, as you can see in the current Metacritic score of The Last of Us Part 2. That right there is the indication of how your community feels about the actions that you've taken. Now, all of that is not just because of the DMCA takedowns, but I can assure you that the DMCA takedowns also have an effect on what is happening in the user Metacritic score of The Last of Us Part 2. So now let's talk about some of the pushback that I have seen in regards to some of the criticism that people have for the story of The Last of Us Part 2. And I've seen a lot of people like on Twitter and whatnot saying, oh, if you don't like the story of The Last of Us 2, it's because you're a bigot or a misogynist, or you just don't like the fact that there is a female lead, or you just don't like the way that this other character looks, which, by the way, that's going to be my first spoiler warning. From this moment onwards, I will be talking about specific spoilers. So if you want to stay completely, if you want to stay completely in the dark to play the game at a later date, this would be the time that I would advise you to leave. But anyways, let's get into it. Some people will say that, oh, you just don't like the way that Abby looks because she's not a sexualized character or something along those lines. And it's not, no, none of those things are true, at least not in my case. Like, I don't mind that the lead is a female. One of the greatest games on the PlayStation 4, hands down, was Horizon Zero Dawn, and the lead there was a female as well. The difference was the story there actually made sense, and it was an actual compelling story. And, characters had believable character arcs. The problem with the characters in The Last of Us is that they're just straight up not believable. They're just straight up not believable. And particularly Abby, the stuff that she does, the way that she butchers Joel early in the game, and then they try to paint her as like a saint. I can't believe that. Like, a saint doesn't go around and like on this friggin' God knows how many years long vendetta and then really takes her time beating someone to death with a golf club, and then you try to portray her like a saint. Like, I don't have a problem with her character. Here's the thing, I could even understand parts of the story if the death of Joel was handled in a different way. Like, if she got there and she shot Joel in the face, boom, dead. Because that's what Joel did to her father. He shot him in the face, boom, carried on with his life, didn't even care. But no, there's like 8 or 9 people that are in that room watching Joel just be brutally destroyed by a golf club. And God knows for how long she's wailing on him until Ellie gets there, because when Ellie gets there, Joel is just like a bloody mess, like can barely move his eyes or provide any facial. He's almost irrecognizable. So God knows how long Abby's been in there just like wailing on him. And it's just like you got 8 or 9 people in there basically consenting to that torture. And then you try to paint these 8 or 9 people as saints. No, of course not. Which is why the parts of the story that I did like, which I did say in my review, there were parts that I liked, were the parts where I was hunting these people down and killing them. I enjoyed that. You goddamn right I enjoy that. It was my revenge. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm killing all these people. I'm just sad I didn't get to kill Abby. You know? But a lot of people will have other problems with it. Some people will be like, oh, why'd they have to kill Joel? Because they were too attached to Joel. And I can understand that point of view as well. Like I even said in my live stream, look, a lot of people are going to stop playing this video game at the 3-hour mark. It's that simple. There's a lot of, I mean, probably even less. I don't remember exactly how many hours it is into Joel's death. But a lot of people are going to see the way Joel's death play out, and they're not going to want to play anymore. And some of them are even going to return the game because, you know, it is what it is. Some people are not going to like that. Other people are going to play like, I don't know, the 15 hours or however much it is until you get to the confrontation of Ellie and Abby. And then they swap to Abby. And like, people are going to be like, dude, I don't want to like, you know, replay all of the days from Abby's point of view, particularly when it's completely not believable that this character is the nicest person in the world. She's like a saint in this world of death and destruction. Like it's not a believable character arc. Then you also have the fact that Joel and Tommy were dumb as bricks early in the game, basically, you know, giving their names away to the world, despite all of their survival instincts, allowing themselves to be locked into a room surrounded by complete strangers. Never! Like, anybody that's played The Last of Us 1 will be like, Joel would never put himself in a situation like this. Never! If anything, Joel would stay, like, by the horses. He's like, oh no, we'll stay by the horses. You guys go do whatever you guys gotta do. We'll stay here by the horses in the garage. Like, it would never happen. There is no way. And ultimately, that's the problem that I had with the story. And that's the problem that a lot of people have. Now, does it mean that the game deserves a 3 user score? Personally, I don't agree with that because you also have to take into consideration the visuals, the character animations, the sound, the gameplay, which, you know, the gameplay is not that much innovative. It's got a couple of new things, very little things in regards to The Last of Us 1. But if you enjoyed the gameplay of Last of Us 1, you'll probably still enjoy the gameplay of Last of Us 2. It's just, so I don't think a 3 is fair, but this is also the reason why I don't get involved that much when it comes to giving games scores and whatnot, because I think that's a very personal thing. But yeah, it's just what the industry needs to learn in regards to this stuff is like, look, there's not, at least I don't think that there's that many gamers out there. There might be 1 or 2, whatever. There might be a couple of gamers that feel this way, but it's like most gamers out there, they don't care if your lead character is female, male, trans, lesbian, gay. They don't care. What they want is good, believable character arcs. Like I said, a lot of the video games that I've played, I've enjoyed female characters. To me, it's whatever. So long as the female character has a believable character arc, then that's fine. The problem is that a lot of the characters in The Last of Us are just not believable. Like here's another example. The Tommy situation. How after everything they go through in the story, you know, Ellie and Tommy and all of their friends, after everything they go through, there's no way you're going to get me to believe that Tommy would be the one to go and pressure Ellie into going back for a second round of vengeance. Tommy should be looking to Ellie as his daughter, essentially, as it is his job to protect her now that Joel is gone. That would be the relationship that I would expect Tommy to develop with Ellie. And there's no way that a father would ever send his daughter out on another friggin' suicide mission in the name of revenge for his dead brother. It just would never happen. It would never happen. There's no way that you can make me believe that specific character arc for Tommy. It's just like, and like that, there's a bunch of other things. I would also not believe that Ellie go for the second round of vengeance after everything she goes through. I don't believe she would go for a second round of vengeance. And if she did, there's no way she wouldn't kill Abby. Which is why it's just like, dude, there's just too much. There's just too much there. I also don't believe that Abby wouldn't kill Ellie. When the confrontation happens, there's a point of the story where Abby beats the crap out of Ellie. And it's like taking into consideration the depths that she went through to get revenge on Joel. There's no way that after Abby killing literally all of her friends, she wouldn't kill Ellie. There's no way. But dude, these are just some of the inconsistencies that take place. And here's the thing. I want to make sure that people understand something. At the end of the day, if you played through the game and if you enjoyed it like some of the mainstream media claim they did, that's great. That's fantastic. I hope that, like, at the end of the day, I want people to enjoy video games. I didn't enjoy them. And I feel like the industry needs to improve on some of the character development on a lot of video games. And they need to accept the fact that it's not because gamers are bigots or misogynists or whatever else you want to call them. It's because some of these characters just are not particularly believable. And again, like I said, you make a good game with a gay character, nobody cares. Or better, people will care because it'll be a good game. You make a good story arc for that gay character, that's fine. You make a good story arc for a trans character, I guarantee you, nobody is going to care so long as it is a believable story arc. And that's the problem that I had with some of the stuff in The Last of Us. But anyways, I'm just kind of like rambling at this point. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy this video, if you disagree with anything that I said, hit the dislike button and feel free to mention it in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.